the show tonight, 4 talented young people slogging up the slope to stardom. Not the celebrity version, but the real thing, to do with talent. There's the actress, both beautiful and gifted, Amanda Holden. One of my favourite singers, Michael Buble. The man who set out to be Prime Minister but ended up a comedian. So what's new? He is David Mitchell. But first up, a Time Lord. Or as one female critic dubbed him, the first time... The latest Doctor Who, David Tennant.
What a lovely bunch of people you have.
I know, they must all come from where you live, actually. Supporters. Well, there you are. That's an indication of the success of that marvellous show that you're in and of the character that you've created. And let me ask you the question, first of all, when you're leaving?
Yeah, the question I've been asked since the moment I said I was starting. I know. Yeah, no, it's weird. People are sort of desperate for you to leave. I suppose that's the next story, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Who'll be next? Yeah. So I keep tight-lipped on that.
Of course, and quite rightly so, too. You've made it very much your own. Of course, that's a nice thing about Doctor Who. I mean, it's an iconic role. There've been many doctors, but it's a blank canvas, isn't it?
It is.
You start again.
In fact, you've got to start again, really.
Right.
You've got to kind of create it anew each time. I mean, there are things about the character that are immutable. You know, his slight anarchy and his morality and his energy, I think. But
yes.
But beyond that, it's kind of up to you. Yeah.
Yes. It's interesting when you read the cuttings about you because I mean, it's almost like this role is part of your destiny, because you described yourself as a Doctor Who junkie from being a very early age.
Yeah, I did. I grew up absolutely loving it. Yeah, yeah, and it was watching that show was certainly one of the reasons that I thought being an actor would be quite a lark.
When Russell T Davies said to you, "You got the part," did you say yes straight away?
No, I didn't actually. It was funny because it is something that I'd loved for a long time, and I'd sort of joked in the past about, oh, that's the, I'd like that part. But I suppose it's slightly be careful what you wish for, because suddenly it wasn't a fantasy. It was something that was actually being offered to me, and Russell himself said, because he'd been a big fan, and the BBC had come to him and said, recreate the show, and he'd always fantasised about that moment. And then to be presented with it, you suddenly go, Jinx, I've got to take this seriously. Is this really what I want to do? What if I make a mess of it? And so no, I thought about it for a long time, and I changed my mind 3 or 4 times over about a week, 10 days.
And what was the final decision? What made you do it?
I literally just woke up one morning and went, oh, what are you talking about? Of course you're going to do it. I wasn't going to be the guy that watched somebody else do it.
What about when you've got the part of Doctor Who and all this has happened around you? Was it really what you expected? The kind of almost hysteria?
It's more than a job. Yeah, certainly. It's more than another acting job.
Yes.
It is a bit overwhelming. You do... Well, because you go into a supermarket and your face is on a cake. Or the other day, I got sent... There are now underpants with my face on them.
Knickers with your face on?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And that's not a sentence I ever thought I'd say on national television. But yeah, you can now... My face on your crutch. Not yours, Michael.
No. Don't get them any more excited than they are, Dave, for God's sake. And also, too, these dolls here, look. I mean...
Oh, yes, hello.
There's the coat there. In fact, am I right in saying you got this idea of the look of Doctor Who from watching this show, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. This is... Yeah, well, because Billie Piper came on your show...
She did.
Just before Series 1 went out.
Yeah.
Which was just after I knew I was taking over.
Yeah.
And I always knew I wanted to wear these shoes. And we'd sort of talked about, well, maybe we could wear that with a suit. And then watching Billie on your show, on comes Jamie Oliver. Yeah. Dressed kind of in a white version of that, really. And I remember myself and Russell T Davies, who writes the show so brilliantly, the very next morning we went, did you see Jamie Oliver and Parkinson last night? That's a good idea. So yeah,
well, I'm glad we could be of help.
Thank you very much.
It's a strange story, this, because we've been putting all kinds of sort of strange postures. His hands are... I don't quite know what they're gripping. It's very odd.
I think... I think his screwdriver goes in.
The sonic screwdriver. You know, the one thing that I would love to have is a sonic screwdriver.
Oh, we'll get you a sonic
Would
screwdriver.
You? Wouldn't that solve all your problems?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? Because I'm useless around the house. It's all done.
I can't promise it'll do that, but it does make a nice noise.
Absolutely. Now, Russell Davies, you mentioned there, and of course he's played a significant part in your life because you got to this part, you got the audition because of Casanova, of course, which he wrote and which he was part of.
Absolutely.
That part, you had to bed 15 women.
Yeah. It's tough.
Was it? Did you get in training for it?
I've been in training for a very long time. No, I did not really. I mean, you just sort of have to get on with it, don't you?
I don't know, do you? Tell me.
It was a curious one on that because there are a few women who go through the story, but then there's a sequence in that where you basically see Casanova at work, as it were, and you kind of flick through about 20 different conquests very quickly. And of course, these poor actresses, these supporting artists would turn up, get wheeled on. So, one would be leaving and another one was getting wheeled on. Our skirts flung around our ears. But they were all terribly game, I have to say.
What's been this so far? I mean, it's not the first time you've had to do it on screen, and not the first time you've appeared nude on screen. Actually, well, not nude, but
I'm rarely clothed.
You're rarely clothed. Rarely clothed.
On screen.
But I mean, there haven't been any really embarrassing moments. I mean, what was that seemed not to be embarrassing reading the cutting, but has there been one moment that was, oh God, you thought I don't want to do that?
Yeah. Something I had to do in a film once, quite a long time ago now, is it's not the pretending to have sex, which is embarrassing, certainly, especially if you're unclothed. But hopefully you're with an actress who's kind of, she's in the same boat and you're just getting on with it. Pretending to climax on screen is about the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. Well, only because it's a relatively private experience. Let's be honest. And so there's all these cameras and everyone else watching you, and you go for it as best you can, but there's a sense when they say cut of you kind of think, is that what everyone else does? Is that roughly... That's vaguely normal.